right, good morning once again. Welcome back to your number one online gospel radio station, Lagoon Radio, powered by the Diocese of Lagos Anglican Communion. Of course, as you know, it's about time for the newspaper review, and with me in the studio is Indena Abigail Umba.
You're actually doing well. You're trying. You're getting
All right, good
there.
morning. Of course, you can join us on Facebook at Lagoon Radio Nigeria, on Instagram and Twitter is at Lagoon Radio NG. And you can also listen via our website on www.lagoonradio.ng for more info and entertainment. Yes, my name is Taiwo Adiola Shabiolegbe, and in no particular order, I've got a lot of newspapers here, a lot of stories over the weekend, and we're here to unwrap them. Abigail.
Yes, like she said, in no particular order, some of the newspapers that we're going to be reviewing or reading the headlines rather are the Daily Times newspaper. We have the Blueprint, we have the New Telegraph newspaper, we have Leadership, we have Daily Trust, a Nigerian Tribune, Business Day, The Guardian, Punch, we have The Nation amongst others, and we're just going to start right with a Daily Times newspaper. And at the top of the headline, you can see CCT chairman Suze Lawan, Malami Senate over assault allegation. Now, this actually happened over the weekend. I don't know what assault they're talking about, but you can read more details on this on page 2 of the Daily Times newspaper. Also, still on the Daily Times, you have presidency slams Kuka over address to U.S. Congress. And right under that says, accuses cleric of doing his best to sow discord and strife among Nigerians. Well, that can also be continued on page 3 of the Daily Times newspaper. And that's pretty much, there's an image of celebration of life. And then, of course, the image of President Muhammad Buhari and Koka right at the front page. That's like the most on it. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. And moving on to the Blueprint newspaper, at the very top of it, police kill 10 bandits in Niger, Zamfara gun battle. And right after that says, gunmen kill 15 cops, 2 farmers, 6 injured. Below others equipment to reduce casualties. All these you can get on page 6 of the Blueprint newspaper. And at the side of it, EcoBank celebrates diaspora Nigerians, announces zero fees for rapid transfer. All this you can get on page 25.
Is that zero fees for EcoBank to EcoBank transfers or
about EcoBank to
other banks?
That's a nice one. Well, maybe we'll get to read the story, more of that on page 25 of the Blueprint newspaper. Nigerian banks at the forefront of technology. Again, you can get the story on page 25 of the Blueprint newspaper. 14 die in Oshun auto crash. You can get the story on page 7. And boldly written on the front page, COVID-19 third wave / Salah. Federal government places Kano, Lagos, Rivers, Kaduna, FCT, and 2 others on red alert. You can get this on page 6. And the rider under that says, other states to heighten protocols enforcement, assures on border protection at Salah, FCT shuts parks. Southwest senators urge tight security, warn on agitations. NIPRD develops 3 COVID-19 products and 10 others. All this you can get on page 6.
So I think with the fact that we now have the Delta variant of the COVID-19 in Nigeria, I don't think it's so wise for I know Ileya, it's a big one. It's like Christmas for Muslims, but I feel like they should be very conscious of the fact that they need to be very conscious of the fact that COVID is here, and I feel like a lot of people are actually going to die this time around because we're so casual about it.
A lot.
Yeah, so people don't even understand what we mean by Delta variant. They just feel like it's another day. So people are trying to be careful. So, and I like the fact that the government is already putting Lagos and major Muslim states on red alert so that they just go around with your
major states,
yeah, where people actually celebrate Salah. Like if you go to the beach tomorrow now, everywhere's gonna be open.
Of course.
So yeah, that.
All right, you can get all the story on page 5 and page 6 of the Blueprint newspaper. And at the bottom of it, we have Kuka sowing seed of discord among Nigerians, presidency. And the right under that says, bandit attacks not targeted at Christians. You can get this also on page 5.
So who is it targeted at? if the bandit attacks are not on Christians, who is it targeted on exactly? Like,
Okay, telcos to Senate. We have capacity to transmit election result electronically. Well, I read that in the news today.
NEPA will take lights.
Honestly,
they did not charge the laptop and the thing that they want to use to transmit. See, something transformer will blow that day. Let's not bother.
everything basically catch fire.
Exactly. Something will catch fire.
All right, you can get that on page. It's quite tiny. Page 18, I think, or 12. Abigail, you want to help me with that page? Well, you can check the front page of the Blueprint newspaper. All right, moving on. NACON get 3 new directors. You can get the story on page.
It's tiny.
Quite tiny as well. Congress's APC releases timetable, grants waivers to new members. Okay. You can get this on page 16. It's tiny. Thank you. 2023, Southwest North Central not qualified for presidency. NYLF. You can get this on page 1.
Why? What is
newspaper?
What's disqualifying the Southwest and I can agree with North Central, but what's disqualifying Southwest, and then who is now qualified for presidency in 2023? Wow.
The question is
Anyway, we're going to move on to the New Telegraph newspaper, and at the very boldly written there, you can see fear grips senators who voted against the Electronic Commission. And right under that says some issue statements saying they've nothing against it, and accuse the opposition of trying to pit them against their constituents. This can all be found on page 2. For me personally, I feel like there's no reason why anybody should be afraid. If you think something is not going to work and you vote against it, that's your opinion. Voting against it does not, that's how you feel at the moment.
Yes,
some people
doesn't necessarily have to.
Exactly. Some people might need to see something work before they believe completely that thing works. You get so I don't think fear is the word that we should be using here anyway, but that's their wahala. Then personnel pension costs to go up 4.79 trillion in 2022. The federal government is coming out to say oil investors spend 1.5 trillion naira on marine vessels in 4 years. That can be found on page 17 of the New Telegraph newspaper. And autumn resurrected water resources bill is cattle colony Ruga in disguise. And the writer under that says he's seeking federal government 100 billion naira approval to boost ranching in Benue State. That can be found on page 25. 100 billion naira to boost ranching. Okay. CCT chair drags Senate, Lawan, AGF, and others to court, and this is still about the assault thing. This can be found on page 3 also. And Kuka sowing seed of discord amongst Nigerians. Presidency is saying, and the writer under that says no constitutional backing for appointment based on ethnicity and faith. This can also be found on page 3. And so on health matters, new tests better to detect glaucoma has actually been discovered. That can be found on page 30. You can get more details on that. And concerning the 2023 presidency election, presidency Senate on the card for second term governors, that can be found on page 9. Eid Kabir, IGP orders increased police presence nationwide. I think this is very important. Just this morning, a friend of mine was robbed on Obalinde. So yeah,
can you imagine that?
So they actually need to increase, not just because of the Salah and all that, but yeah. No herbal medicine approved to treat COVID-19 yet. NAFDAC is saying so. This is to take me. It's not a goal that will solve your problem. Don't take Agbo and say it's no. Please. Anyway, that can be found on page 8 of the New Telegraph. And lastly, Anambra Obiano heads Soludo's campaign on page 25 of the New Telegraph. That's the much that is on the New Telegraph. Yeah. All
right, moving on to the Leadership newspaper. At the very top of it, we have concerns over non-insurance for money agents amid insecurity. And the stories are at the very front page, and you can continue reading on page 4 of the leadership newspaper. Boldly written on the front page, you have e-transmission of election results. CSOs, lawyers child NAS for neglecting will of Nigerians. You can get this on page 4 of the leadership newspaper, and the writer under that says, engage in wide consultation on next line of action. It's a shame we are still debating. It's a shame we're still debating electoral fraud in Nigeria, says lawyer. Senate President defends lawmakers' action. All this you can get on page 4 of the leadership newspaper. And at the bottom of it, we have assault. CCT chairman sues Senate, Lawan, AGF, and others. You can get this on page 4 of the leadership newspaper as well. Bandits kill 15 policemen in Zamfara and Niger. You can get this story on page 4. Eid Kabir, police NCDC beef up security. You can also get this all on page 4 of the leadership newspaper. Federal government molds establishment of Health Reform Council, also on page 4 of the leadership newspaper. And at the very bottom of it, we have presidency criticizes Kuka for reporting Nigeria to U.S. Congress. You can get this on page 12 of the leadership newspaper. All right, moving on.
Okay, so special guest of honor just joined us. She's going to be taking the Daily Trust newspaper.
You're welcome, Koinsola Alao. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning to you once again.
Yeah.
Good morning. How was your weekend?
As well.
It was flooded.
Okay, so moving on to Daily Trust newspaper, and the main headline here says testing isolation centers shut in state despite imminent COVID-19 third wave. And you can also see federal government may apply segmented lockdown, says PSC. Federal Capital Territory and 6 states on red alert already, and I'm sure that includes Lagos State.
Yes.
So we can also find why Nigeria is at risk, says NCDC, and suspend Duba. Committee advises emirs. Okay, all those can be found on on the first page. You will see it on the first page of the Daily Trust newspaper. We can also see bullets alone can't stop banditry, other crimes, says Jonathan. Actually, it made a lot of sense. It's not all about bullets. Like more things has to be done.
Yeah. We
can also find little headlines there saying that 14 killed in Osh. Hey, my state.
He shocked you.
14 killed in Oshu, 4 injured in Abuja, road crashes. I really don't know what's going on with all of this.
I read that in the news this morning.
The road is bad. There's nothing to
The roads
ask.
are bad.
The roads are bad. That's just it.
Really bad.
What are the governments? What are they doing?
You know they don't pass that road. So
are they flying?
Of course now.
No, they do.
But
they do pass the road, but
they
they
can't
can't.
actually pass the
They can't
road.
be bothered. They can't be bothered.
I'm not even surprised because most of them use one way.
Well,
Exactly. So talking about Salah, which is like that my backyard.
less than
It says
24 hours.
travelers in mad rush for air tickets. It's necessary because everyone wants to travel. So. And we can also see that 15 policemen, 10 bandits killed in Zamfara, Niger attack. Cops repel attack on community, and bandits leader free hostages, dead dad released. This can be found on page 1. Page 1 of the Daily Trust newspaper, and you can also check out more details on all of the news that we've shared for you to read further on others. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to the Nigerian Tribune. A federal post: Constitution doesn't prescribe Christian/Muslim balance. Presidency replies Kuka. Now, this whole Kuka thing, I think every newspaper we've read has something on that.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think he reported Nigeria
To the US.
to the US, saying that they are being biased and enough Christians are not getting
the government is not even favoring
so
the Christians, right?
what the Buhari, I think what President Buhari is saying is that in the constitution it doesn't recognize Muslim or Christian.
Christians, yes.
So it's not based on that. You get Anyway, that can be found on page 5 of the Nigerian Tribune. Frontier Basins Development, another slush fund. You can continue reading more on that for on page 6. That's actually on business. Then federal government approves 15 billion naira reversity. Federal government approves 15 billion naira to revitalization fund for polytechnics and college of education. It was really tiny. That can be found on page 10 of the Nigerian Tribune. APC grant waivers to new members and returning executives to contest Congress. That can be found on page 23 of the Nigerian Tribune. Alleged assault, CCT chairman sues Senate Lawan and AGF and others. That can also be found on page 29. And the very boldly written headline is CSO's lawyers PDP vow to reject amended clause in e-transmission of election result. The writer under that is a lot. It says the canvasses visa ban, recall of airing NAS members, fear grips Southern NAS members. Nigerians should insist 2023 poll is internet compliant. Is it the one that shut down Twitter? Okay.
I pray.
How?
Electronic transfer of results possible. Telcos are saying APC PDP lawmakers voted against committee recommendations. Senate President. All this can be found on page 2 of the Nigerian Tribune. It's wrong to appoint non-degree holders into varsities governing councils. ASU tells FG, but yeah, why would you do that?
Never for them.
So, but you go school, you do 4 years, but you strike, or you do maybe 5 or 6 years. But you COVID that you not come and carry somebody that did not qualify to come and check. No, that doesn't even make any sense. Yeah. So, okay,
things are really happening in the country, so I'm not surprised.
If
you are a secondary school certificate holder, of course you can be the president and you can be the governor.
I was actually going to say that, because when Madam former finance minister, what's her name now, when the issue with NYSC happened, right? The courts have come out to say that you don't need NYSC certificate to be a minister.
Yes.
Meanwhile, all this while, this was a criteria until it got to her. It changed. So things are changing. Anyway, road accident claim 16 in Osun State. Boya Ileya that caused it. Is it the ram that is occupying the space of the road?
It's occupying the space on this market.
I don't know.
Kara, or what's it called?
Anyway, I also had someone who was involved in an accident along Lagos Ibadan Expressway.
I had someone as well. He sent me pictures.
Like the road was jam packed. Like he said, he couldn't. Trailers, everything, he didn't even
and the rain added to the old thing again. You know, the ground will be slippery and
a section of the route.
Rams and cows.
All of these things make up the problem. Anyway, that can be found on page 26. One dies as 40-feet container crushes 2 vehicles in Otedola Bridge again. That can be found on page 27. Bandits kill 13 policemen, others in Zamfara State. And the writer under that says they release 1 adopted Baptist student on health grounds. And Serap gives federal government 24 hours to withdraw gag order on reporting of terrorist attacks. So wait, the bandits released a student because the student health. But yeah, all of us will gotta be sick. That can be found on page 29 of the Nigerian Tribune. I think because of time, we're just going to move to Punch.
Punch? Okay, I think we have the Guardian here.
Yeah, Punch, Guardian this day.
Okay, and of course, who would help us with business? All right, moving on to Guardian newspaper. High prices deprived our faithful of Salah celebration amid declining inflation. The writer under that says, review import tariffs on inputs to check inflation, says Yusuf. Currency depreciation is disastrous for import-dependent economy. How to reduce inflammatory pressures, says Owo. Okay, you can continue reading the story on page 2 of the Guardian newspaper. At the very side of it, we have CCTV chair sues Lawan Malami, others over his probe for alleged assault. You can get this on page 4. No about cure for COVID-19 yet. NAFDAC insists. You can also get this on page 4.
Exactly. Just I believe in Agbu.
Another NAF jet reportedly crashes in Kaduna. Force react. And you can get this on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. You are not doing enough on security. Ibadan Traditional Council tells Makinde. Where you can get the story on page 7 of the Guardian newspaper. Nigeria's 2022 digital switch over target uncertain as federal government slows on timeline. You can continue reading this story on page 2. And the writer another says, digital transition is on course, says NBC. Lagosians unaware of free TV
Free TV.
as designated sales centers yet to begin. All these you can get on page 2 of the Guardian newspaper. Moving on.
I'm just saying that there's free TV somewhere.
I think that's how I was laughing.
Like,
You should start dancing.
come here, I want to.
Me too.
Right.
You people like free things a lot.
Idea. Okay. Moving on to the Punch. Business Day Airports. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so moving on to the Business Day newspaper, we can see with the major airline here saying massive oil theft to cost Nigerian 2.2 trillion naira in 2021. That is the major headline for the Business Day newspaper. And also beside it, we can see microfinance bank loan book rises on CBN fintech injection. More of this news story can be found on page 11 of the Business Day newspaper. And inside the paper, we have protest expose fatalities on Africa's 2 largest economies. You can check and read more on page 30. FMDQ lists North-South Power 50 billion naira green bond program. This can be found on page 16 of the Business Day newspaper. Other things I'm seeing are just stock shareholders. I don't.
Of course, it's Business Day newspaper. What do you expect?
I mean, there's no major headline aside. Why?
Yeah. Okay. So
Okay.
Abigail.
Yes, the Punch newspaper. Telecommunications sector depletes forex by $10.8 billion in 5 years. That can be found on page 27. Federal government plans 12.3 billion naira subsidy for 2 million farmers.
Yeah, I read that in the news this morning, and he has paid about 1.2. He has paid to 1.2 million farmers already.
Who are these farmers?
Waiting to receive alerts. I mean, not saying we read about news this morning.
Okay, that can be found on page 27 of the Punch newspaper. ECOWAS cancels Nigerian to raise VAT on hotels and others. Why?
Understand.
What kind of council is that one?
That's on hotels.
I don't get. Already hotel going.
As enough VAT.
What's that supposed to mean? Please keep your counsel to yourself.
Very soon they'll add VAT to everything.
There's VAT on literally everything. But
Sorry,
please,
expect VAT on your water.
They said that they should.
I actually went to a restaurant
it.
one time and they were like VATs.
No, like
I'm
honestly
buying a
speaking,
drink, you're collecting VATs.
no, honestly speaking.
So for everything I take, I get to pay.
You're paying
Very
for
soon
it.
we'll have VAT on pure water and bottled water.
Who told you don't have one? Okay.
So we are
Page
paying for
27. You're paying for everything you buy. What ECOWAS is saying that they should raise it. They should increase the VAT. That's what
The only
I'm
thing I
saying.
think we're not paying for now is the breath we're taking in.
Yes.
Because we're virtually getting
If
to
they
the
see
verge
where
of
they
we
are-
paying for
if they-
every single thing that we're using.
But you know, honestly, now let me be the devil's advocate. In
I
advanced,
know, no be you.
in
in
advanced
advanced countries, that's why things are moving well.
Yes,
You
of
pay
course.
tax on everything. The only difference is that your money works for you, right? By the time you're done paying, you will see what you've paid for.
Exactly.
Here
The
is
value,
that-
the value for
Yeah,
the money is still
but
very
here, nothing. So that's why it looks like this taxing is a problem. But you can read more on that on page 27. External reserves just by $180 million in 2 weeks. That can be found on page 29. And then, of course, there's still the issue of assault. CCT chair sues the Senate. Victim questions National Assembly's power. That can be found on page 8. APC's... Joe. Okay, we'll move from that. E-transmission of results. Buhari's aid defend rejection. NBA others say resolution illegal and selfish. And the writer under that says Senate listened to Communications Commission cited risk of hacking, says Ojudu. National Assembly has tied INEC's hands and belittled Electoral Commission, says NBA. Okay. And then any legislation that whitles down
down.
whitles down INEC's independence unconstitutional. Sansa saying all of this can be found on page 2 of the Nigerian newspaper, and then I beg your pardon, of the Punch newspaper. And then of course there are pictures of traffic gridlocks, roads have been blocked, commuters grown as ram. That way is not I tell you or not. Yeah. Commuters grown as ram sellers and buyers block Lagos Ibadan expressway. You can't blame them. Salah is once a year. I mean, Ileya is once a year.
Christmas is once a year, so.
Exactly.
Well, we should not
But I mean, there should be.
That's
there
why
should be some things. I mean, we should have a traffic whatever guiding these people. They shouldn't just be there. I've been there. Or should we not have a lane for them?
But yeah,
for the cows
online, of course,
exactly.
Of course, yeah. Just that the website to be breaking down every now and then. 16 killed in Oshun crashes. FRSC blames wrong overtaking. Okay, that can be found on page 8 or 5. Court fixes Igboho's 8th trial for Salade. How? Why? Are they supposed to be working?
They don't.
Why?
They don't want them to go and eat ram now.
That's unfair. Anyway,
they actually want people to.
You don't want too many people paying attention to them.
Command goes after Zamfara's gunmen as bandits kill 13 policemen. That can be found on page 11. Makinde running one-man show, mismanaging insecurity. Ibadan monarchs are saying. That can be found on page 11. Lagos Assembly CSO orders brutalize lawyer over council post suit. This is why they are trying to drag the National Assembly and the rest. That can be found on page 4 and 6. And lastly, on the Punch newspaper, River Basin writes Sanwo-Olu Abiodun on Oyan Dam's water release. And that can be found on page 16. And I think that's...
and that's much you can take on the newspaper review this morning. I think we've done justice to virtually all the newspapers we've got. Yes, thank you very much for being a part of the show. You're listening to us via our website and watching us from YouTube and Facebook. Thank you very much. Thank you very much to Iwolabi, Koisola Alao. Let me show myself small now. Thank you very much, Taiwa Jola Shablegbe, and thank you to my partner here, my observer, co-producer. Yeah, tomorrow is going to be another edition of the newspaper review from the hours of 9:30 to 10 o'clock. Of course, you don't want to miss it. And on this note, I say good morning once again. Coming up right after now is the Moment of Truth by the venerable Henry Adelegon. You don't want to miss out. Good morning and stay connected to Lagoon Radio.
You